Welcome in, Jake West, Director of Team FYN Sports, joined by a whole slew of guys to talk North Georgia football. Chris Napier, DJ Kaufman, RJ Casey, and I think Chris Mathis and Tim Tower are going to join us later. But Napier, before we get into just recapping last week and get into your region, let's highlight some of the individual performances from last week's Week 8 games and get through these player of the week graphics. Caleb, if you want to pop those up really quick. Jose Sanchez, RJ, was your player of the week. I know that's not a picture of him. We got the wrong picture uploaded, but that will get fixed. Sanchez is a good weapon to have on your team. Wouldn't you agree, RJ?
Oh, yeah. I believe I kind of right 7 of his 8 kickoffs last week at Ridgeland went for touchbacks and had a 46-yard field goal as well to end the first half. And he's certainly a weapon to have, and so is his brother, Juan Sanchez. They're both great kickers and great weapons to have, and they're going to come in handy this Friday against Central for sure.
Riley Ross from Armucci, defensive back, had a good game. 2 interceptions, 7 total tackles. And Caroline Hodges, another kicker, player of the week, 5 for 5 PATs, and also notched a 23-yard field goal for Chattooga Indians. And for Gilmer, Will Kiker, 2 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, 7 total tackles, the junior defensive back. And Napier, perhaps one of the best performances so far this year, yards per catch wise, was Jaden Rice for North Murray. Just highlight his performance and then just talk about what happened last week in the region as a whole, Chris.
Yeah, Jaden had a huge game, and it was really hard to pick the player of the week. Ethan Dempsey also had a huge game. He had about 100 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. But Jaden also had, I think, 4 carries for about 40 yards, and one of his touchdowns was a rushing touchdown. He's also got a play of the week that you can vote on for Channel 3 in Chattanooga, the juggling touchdown catch that we've shared several times. So he had a huge game, and I wish I could have given player of the week to several more guys because they played Southeast and had a big win last week. They played an out of region game. Also in the region, I think we had Rockmart last week beat LFO. We had Sonorville, I think, beat Murray County. We had Lafayette lose to Ringgold, and that was a very close game. That was a televised game. And we had Coahulla Creek and Adairsville played a great game. Adairsville come out on top of that one, 20-10. And so this week we have several good games coming up. First, we got North Murray up at LFO. LFO's had really a down year, and North Murray got pretty explosive offense. You know, Seth Griffin, Jaden Rice, and Dempsey, and Judson Petty. I like North Murray there. We have Murray County at Rockmart. Murray County's also had a down year. They've got some good players. Taylor Carroll. I think I saw earlier that Eli Hope, their center, he's kind of the anchor of their offensive line. He'll be out for that game. So I really like Rockmart at home there. It's going to be tough for Murray County to win that one. 2 other very important games, Coahulla Creek and Lafayette. This will be an opportunity for Coahulla Creek to get to 500. That'll be the first time they'll ever had a non-losing season if that happens. I think they got a shot here. Lafayette, they've got 2 region losses and still a tough schedule. I think they've got Ringgold still on the schedule and Rockmart also. So this is a must-win for them. The biggest game in the region we're looking at this week is Sonorville and Adairsville. Sonorville has I think they have 2 region losses already. These 2 are one of the 3 teams I see fighting for that 3-4 spot. So we got North Murray, Adairsville, and Sonorville. These two, Sonoraville and Adairsville, they square off tonight. And so this is going to be a very important game for the rankings, the playoff rankings. The team that loses this, it's going to be pretty tough to claim the 3 spot. They'll still have plenty of opportunities to get into that 4 spot. That's why so many eyes are going to be on this game, because this means a lot in the seeding for the playoffs. So that's what we're looking at here. Just keep an eye on that Sonoraville-Adairsville game. It means a lot. And I think both teams know that, and they are going to be coming in pumped for that one.
What's your prediction for that one?
I see it really as an even matched game. Both teams are pretty similar. They both have young quarterbacks who have done really well this season. Jackson Pate for Sonoraville, Jonathan Goe for Adairsville. They both have great running backs. Eli Agnew for Adairsville and Zach Lyles for Sonoraville. And each team has plenty of other playmakers. For Adairsville, a guy named Chris Roper who can run the ball out of the backfield, receiver. He's a pretty dangerous weapon. And then over on Sonoraville, you've got a kid named Brant Bryant, who I think is really good also. So these teams look very similar, and both teams have very good linebacker play. Sonoraville's got several very good linebackers. Adairsville, their linebacking core is led by a guy named Tokyo Gordon, who we just saw this week commit to Middle Tennessee State. He is a tall, got some length to him, runs the field, sideline to sideline type of guy. So that's why I think this game is evenly matched. And I would say the advantage is for Adairsville, because it will be at home. So that's the only advantage I see between the two teams. Adairsville has them at home. So I look for a down to the wire, maybe high scoring affair. I think whoever's got the best running back that night can win it. I would lean Adairsville because I think their offensive line is great. The unit as a whole is great. So I would give the advantage Adairsville there, but I think it's going to be really close. This could be a down to the wire game.
Yeah, I agree. I saw Sonoraville play Fannin County, and they've got some very talented players. But I also went back and watched Adairsville's game from 2 weeks ago, and Adairsville just some really huge kids, like you said, especially on that line.
Yeah, they've got a very good line.
What about the Lafayette game and Cola Creek? You said could move Cola Creek to 5-3 on the year, first time ever not with a losing season. What's your prediction for that one?
I think Coahella Creek plays really good run defense, especially when you're running inside the tackles. They've got a kid named Robbie Wiggins, who is a great defensive lineman. He tends to give offensive line some problems. I know that he gives some problems to that Adairsville line last week. They took a tough loss. Chris Roper had a huge game. But if Coahella Creek can stop that Lafayette running attack, I think they can win this game. If they don't, I think Jalen Ramsey could rack up a lot of yards. But offensively, I think Coahella Creek is doing really well as of late. So I'd like to see Coahella Creek win that game. I think they can. But both of these teams still have a huge schedule, tough schedule going forward. I don't know if they can make it in the playoffs, either one, without winning out, and that's going to be tough because I think Lafayette still got Rockmart on the schedule. Coahella Creek still got Ringgold and Sonoraville on the schedule. So this is a very important game for them if they want to get to that 500 plateau.
Since you're first up here, you get the pick of the litter. What's one game that you're really looking forward to? Maybe if it's not in your region, but kind of in the Northwest Georgia area. I mean, obviously you're looking forward to the Sonoraville-Adairsville game, but what's another one that's kind of flying under the radar that you want to keep tabs on this week?
I would say Northwest Heritage for the 7-4A region. I think that's a very important game. That could decide a lot. I know Central they run the risk of being on the outside looking in. and Pickens is there. But I think we're going to know in 7-4A who's who after this Northwest Heritage game. I think that's a very important game. I think it may be televised. I don't know. I would love to watch it later on. But I would lean Northwest there. I know Heritage had a big win last week down at Central, but I think they're going to run into a team that can really sling it around the field. Owen Brooker's having a good year. I think they could rack up some yardage and some points. So if Heritage can keep up scoring with them, they got a chance. But I really like Northwest in this game, so that'd be one I'll probably go back and watch later.
Yeah, I think Heritage squeaked out 3 or 4 point victory last week over Central, I believe.
Yeah, on the road. So that was
that
was a big win for them.
Chris, great insight. Appreciate it. Feel free to pop out whenever. But let's stay with 7-4A, RJ, and you tell us, recap, obviously, Heritage got a win over Central. Recap that, what happened in Region 7-4A.
Yeah, big week for Region 7-4A. As we talked about earlier, had Heritage go to Central. It was Central's homecoming. So Heritage went down there and got a 19-14 win. Big win for them, kept them undefeated in region play. Central's now behind the 8 ball a little bit. They're going to come into Jasper on Friday with their backs against the wall and looking to get a region win and stay in the playoff hunt, because with the 5-game region schedule, if you're 0-3, you're pretty much looking on the outside looking in. So Pickens is going to be home. It's going to be senior night for that one. They're coming off a big win against Ridgeland on the road. Sam Stryker threw 3 touchdown passes, one to Caden Hampton, one to Devin Hand, and one to Marcus Pike as well. I guess they gave up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on Ridgeland's second possession of the ball game, and didn't give up anything after that. So the defense played very well against a primarily run dominant team. They're going to have a challenge this week against Central, with Central having athletes all over the field on offense. I know they've had some injuries, had some season-ending injuries for a couple of kids, but they've still got some athletes all over the field, including their sophomore quarterback. They've got a freshman running back as well, and they've got a top junior wide receiver that's just got his first offer last night from Vanderbilt. So they're going to have their hands full with Central on Friday. But like I said, in Northwest went up to Cedartown, had the tough task of playing the Bulldogs last Friday. Did put up 23 points against them. It looks like most of that was garbage time points. But Northwest is going to come in and take on Heritage this week. That, like Chris said, that's going to be a big ball game to determine some playoff implications. Northwest, I think, has a little advantage in that one just because it's at home, but I would not sleep on Heritage. They're a little bit of a younger team, but Heritage is always a tough team to deal with. So that's probably the game of the week, followed by the Pickens Central game. Cedartown's got Ridgeland this week. That's not going to be a contest. No disrespect to Ridgeland, but that's not going to be a contest. So looking at the two big games for this week with Pickens and Central and Heritage and Northwest, definitely be keeping up with that Heritage Northwest game on the sidelines on Friday.
What's your prediction for that Heritage Northwest game, RJ?
It's going to be tough because, like we mentioned, Northwest likes to sling it around the field, but they've notoriously had some bigger backs as well. They can pound it if they want to. I don't know if that's still the case this year, but they're at home. I'm gonna give the edge to Northwest slightly, but it would not surprise me if Heritage goes in there and wins.
What about this Pickens game? Pickens and Central. What's your prediction? Pickens by
Ah,
how many?
it'll be a tough one just because Central's coming in with their backs against the wall. They're desperate. They need a win. So Coach Myers and the staff's got to drill that into the kids. Like, hey, just because they're 0-2 and struggle a little bit, they're dangerous. And so, but it's going to be senior night here in Jasper. Uh, so that's going to be a lot of motivation for the kids as well, for the Dragons, and a win keeps them in the thick of the playoff race. So if you say Northwest beats Heritage and Pickens beats Central on Friday, there's a 3-way tie for second at 2-1 with a couple games left in the season. So a lot of motivation for both sides. I think Pickens comes away with a win. I think it'll be a close one. I think it's probably going to come down to which defense is going to make a stop because I think both offenses are really, really good. Both offenses can put the points on the board. So I think it's going to come down to either probably who has the ball last or who can make the most stops.
Yeah, that's probably true. Just tell us about this Pickens team as a whole, RJ. I don't think they're getting enough credit. I mean, they sit at 4-2. In our pregame show, I think everybody picked them to win 4 games total, or in our preseason show.
Yeah, they've already outdone what they did last year. No, they were a really, really young team last year. They're still a young team this year. Excuse me, but they've gotten a lot of experience. Those kids have gotten a lot of experience as the time has gone on, and they they haven't played a full game yet. I mean, I know you've seen some of the scores that they've put out, but they haven't played a full game yet. And what better time to play a full game than in your biggest game of the year right here on Friday? This is the biggest game of the year. So I would actually think those kids are in playoff mode now because your last 3 games, this one on the at home and the next 2 on the road, those are going to determine your season. So I'm pleasantly surprised at how they're doing. I figured they had a shot at a 5, maybe a 6-win season, but way they're going, they could definitely end up with 6, maybe 7 wins.
Hey, RJ, real quick before we go to our commercial break, how healthy are the Dragons right now? Week 7 in the season.
They're fairly healthy. They've got a couple kids out, but for the most part, they've got everybody intact, which is really good news, especially this late in the year. But everybody's always going to be banged up this time of year. But with serious stuff, I think they've avoided it so far. So knock on wood, that keeps going.
Yeah, really good insight there, RJ. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, DJ, we'll have you highlight what happened last week in your region, and also tell us what you expect to see coming up this Friday night. So let's take a quick break. This North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Director, Team FY in Sports, the North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Press Box. I'm joined by RJ Casey, Chris Mathis, WJRB, WJUL, and DJ Kaufman. DJ, highlight and recap what happened last week in Week 8 in your region. I know you had probably the game of the area.
Yes, sir. I had the Haralson County Callaway game. And, coming out the gate, everybody thought I was listening to the radio and everything, and everybody was picking Callaway to win by 14, by 21. Up there, Haralson County came out. They were locked in. They looked very focused, ready to play. Which, like I said last week, Haralson County actually beat Callaway last year. But it was a Tuesday night game. Everybody was calling it a fluke, the weather, COVID. Well, you come out, Haralson County put 28 up in the first quarter. Callaway had 3 turnovers, an interception, 2 fumbles. Come out, Callaway kind of gassed the Haralson County defense in the third quarter with a lot of throws over the middle. Haralson County was playing a lot of man-to-man. And Callaway, they just have some great athletes that was making plays for them. Ended up, getting it 28-14. And then Haralson County came in, got a strip sack from the defensive line, which, as y'all know, was my keys to the game last week was the defensive line. The defensive line played outstanding all night. Riley Bell, I think he had 10 QB hurries. Ethan Bell, his brother on the other side, he's just a sophomore. He had, 8 or 9. He had a strip sack and recovered the fumble himself. And put Haralson County in a great situation all night. And then Haralson County came out on top on that game 42-14, which a lot of people, was very surprised at that score. Callaway's a great program, a great team. I just felt like Haralson County was more prepared for that game. Callaway was coming off a bye week. They had 2 weeks to prepare. I just feel like Haralson County, like I said, I just feel like Haralson County was ready to play, whereas Callaway, I felt, was there. There's the stands, they weren't really in it all game. So I just feel like, Haralson County traveled great. They had a lot of fans there. Great, just a great team win. And then, you had the Heard County Temple game, which, as we talked, the winner, the loser of that game was probably going to be the one that was looking from the outside trying to get in. Heard County took that game, if I'm not mistaken, 42-20, I think it was. Heard County had an outstanding game on offense. So Temple's kind of that team that's kind of looking in to this picture now. Looking forward, Harrison County, they will host Temple this week, which a lot of people say that's not going to be a game that Harrison County should win that game, easily. But if you look back to last year, it was kind of the same situation. Temple was kind of the team looking in, and Temple took Harrison County to 3 overtimes, where Harrison County prevailed, came out on top 31-25. And like Coach Peavy was talking about in his post game interview, their quarterback Cam Vaughn, he's a great athlete. On the year he's thrown for 538 yards. He's rushed for 264, which is only 3 yards behind their leading rusher. So he's almost leading in both passing and rushing. He averages about 134 passing yards a game. His only downfall is sometimes I've seen it in the Pepperell game when they played Pepperell. It tends to he gets his feet faster than his mind. So he wants to escape when he can sit in and maybe take a hit and get the ball there, which is kind of his downfall. He has 2 interceptions on the year. But on the Harrison County side, Clay Hyatt, he came off a huge game last week. He ran for 202, but had 5 rushing touchdowns against a great Callaway defense. Put him at 1,134 yards on the year total. He's averaging about 200. Harrison County's averaging about 209 yards rushing a game, which is pretty good for offense. And then on Harrison County's defensive side, which I'll hit back on, Riley and Ethan Bell, they both have double digits tackle for losses. Riley Bell has 24 QB hurries on the year. Ethan has 4 sacks. So looking forward to that game. I feel like Temple will play Harrison County close again this year, just because it's another one of them crosstown things, just the same as Harrison County and Bremen. So I feel like Temple will play them close again this year. And if Harrison County doesn't come prepared like they did last week, then it could be ugly for Harrison County. And that hurts to say because I'm a Harrison County guy, but I've watched Temple play. I watched them play Pepperell. Their defensive line is outstanding. They're big. They're physical. They got playmakers, and sometimes the playmakers can outrule a team that's playing really bad. Other games, Hurt County's off. They get a bye week this week, and then they host Harrison County. So looking in that game, that could be a really good game. Hurt County actually beat Harrison County last year. But right here in this region, there's really good football teams. Harrison County number 6 in 2A, Callaway number 9, Bremen number 20, and Hurt County 15, all in Region 2A. So this region alone is a really good region. Harrison County being number 1 in region, Herd number 2, Bremen is 3. They haven't played a region game yet, so I think it's going to be interesting to see them play Callaway this week. Just because Callaway comes to them, they don't have to go to Callaway. Bremen's a great team. Bremen has a lot of upside. Nick Richardson, their receiver, he's a great athlete. He's just a freshman, and he's phenomenal. They got Blake Matthews, who can read holes. He hits the hold hard. He's an athlete. Against a Callaway team that's kind of going to be looking like Alabama is next week. They're looking to get back on track, and they looking to do it in an ugly way. Because that was a tough loss for them. Getting beat, getting throttled like that. They're going to be looking to hit some heads. So, Callaway coming in for me at number 4 and Temple number 5. So, I feel like the game of the week in this region is definitely going to be that Bremen Callaway game. But I'm not putting no disrespect on Temple because like I said, I feel like Temple will play Harrison County close, as they did a year ago. But definitely the game of the week this week is going to be the Brigham and Callaway game.
Yeah, good stuff there, DJ. Mathis, let's stick with Double A. Let's switch over to Region 8 Double A, though. What happened last week in Region 8 Double A? I know your Panthers got back-to-back wins.
Yeah, they picked up a win over over Banks. They won 36-14, a complete ball game all the way around. It was the first time this year in which Union had a complete ball game on offense, special teams, defense. In fact, it was really a close game the first half, 14-14. They had a 2-minute drill, really like a 40-second drill right before half. Union has the ball. They set up their kicker with 3 seconds left on the clock to attempt a field goal from 38 yards out. Knotted up at 14. He knocks in the 38-yard field goal try. Union takes a 17-14 lead at halftime. I'm thinking, okay, Union County looks pretty solid. Everything's kind of going their way right now. And they just come out. They scored 19 unanswered in that second half. And the Panther defense played well. They recorded a couple of sacks, a safety, almost had their mitts on an interception as well. They recovered a fumble. The rushing attack was there for Union County. First time this year in which they had over 100 yards from, a combination, a committee backfield. Logan Helcher had 90 yards rushing. The number one back, Caden Tanner, just a sophomore, had 70 yards rushing. Caleb Rogers, also a sophomore, had 60 yards rushing. A very young program with Union County, and I think obviously going 0-4 the first 4 weeks kind of scared everybody, and it should have in a sense, but this is a very young team. They're getting a lot of playing time. They've gone through a couple of harsh losses the first 4 weeks of the year as just sophomores and juniors. Then they pick up 2 straight wins, beating Riverside Military Academy 2 weeks ago, beating Banks County last Friday. And Griffin Young, just a junior this year, 5 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. He leads the team with 4 touchdowns this year. Trace Wright filled in for Keaton Shitwood at outside wide receiver. Trace Wright, just a defensive back, never once played wide receiver in his life. Had a 70-yard touchdown catch, 40-yard pass through the air, took it the distance the rest of the way. 2 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown for a senior that stepped up, filled that void for Keaton Shitwood. David Heredia, sophomore, had a safety on a sack. It was awesome to see. That really changed the pace of things for that Panther football program. Lane Lance, another sophomore for that Panther defense. He's a defensive end. He had a sack. He had 5-6 tackle for losses, probably 9 or 10 combined tackles. Had a great game. Kyler Robbins, the senior kicker, 2 for 2 on field goals, 38 yards out right at halftime, right as the buzzer sounded, and then also had a 27-yarder or 28-yarder there in the third quarter. Looking here at the region as of now, you got to take into account that Rabun County's not played a region game, and Albert, Riverside, Banks, those other 3 teams in Region 8 AA, they have yet to win a region game. As of now, Union County 2-0 in the region. They're in first place in that Region 8 AA spot. Riverside Military Academy 1-4, 0-2 in the region. They're on a bye week this week, a much needed bye as they're obviously coming off against a tough loss back-to-back weeks. Elbert County will host Union County this week. This is kind of that game I circled before the season started. A lot of people think, Rabun against Union. Realistically, the outcome of that game, unless you just have some crazy close score at halftime. More than likely, you're not beating or even having a shot to beat Rabun. But this Elbert County versus Union County game is the one that I had circled from day one, because each and every year you look at this Region 8 AA standings and it's Rabun, Union, or Elbert. And I said this in our preview show, Jake. It's either going to be Union or Elbert in that second spot. And then you've got Banks County and Riverside. And my expectation coming into this year was Banks County last, Riverside last, Banks County in fourth spot. And right now, those 2 teams are kind of battling for that final spot at number 5. So it's really a toss-up between numbers 2 and 3 in this region, and between 3 and 4 in this region as well. Rabun County, again, they'll take on Banks County in Homer, Georgia, as Banks County looks to pick up their first region victory, and Rabun County plays in their first region matchup of the year. That game's going to get ugly. Rightfully so. Rabun County's just that good, and Banks County's struggling this year, to say the least. And Riverside on a bye week. Elbert County hosts Union. That's a big game for Elbert and Union, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this Region 8 AA shakes out, to see who's that, as DJ said a few moments ago, who that last team is looking in. And for Region 8 AA, this Elbert Union game is going to be that game, I feel like, to where you say, okay, the loser of this is truthfully looking in and wishing that one team loses out and that their team can win out and squeak in at number 4. Because right now, if Union does what I hope or expect them to do, they pick up 2 out of the next 3 games, they have a shot with a win here against Elbert to be the number 2 seed, which is unreal with 4 or 5 wins at best. And then Elbert would be number 3. They'd be on the road in the state playoffs. Number 4, you're looking at Banks or Riverside. It's a toss-up. Both teams 0-2 in conference play and region play. Both teams on a down year. And one of those teams is getting left out. But truthfully, a real coin flip to see which team, either Banks or Riverside, doesn't make the cut. Now, with Union playing at Elbert, number 1, Elbert, the home team. They love that stadium. It's an awesome venue. It's a tough place to play for any team. I don't care how good you are. And on top of that, Union County is on their fall break, which, as a broadcaster doing play-by-play for 95.1, the voice of the Panthers each and every Friday night, that worries me a little bit. A fall break, a big-time game, the distractions. Now you go from practicing, right after school from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. to, hey, we're showing up at 7, 8 a.m., we're done at 9 a.m. You have the rest of the day to where those seniors are going to do their thing. They're going to, know what they want. But it comes down to the younger guys that need to realize what's at play here, what's at stake in this Union at Elbert game. Hey, we're going to go have fun after we get out of practice and go goof off, or hey, we're going to be locked in and really focus on potentially the game of the year for Union County.
Yeah, one thing I like what you said about the fall break and the practice. I mean, you see some teams lose a step when they're on fall break. But one thing I wanted to ask you is Trace Wright. As much as Union spreads the ball out, could we see Trace Wright playing both sides of the ball more going forward with as good as he played last week?
Yeah, and crazily enough, again, that was Trace's first ever start at wide receiver. He had 2 catches. One was the first drive of the game. It was a touchdown, 70-yard streak. And then he had a big 3rd down catch, 3rd down and 12, and got a big catch there. And then more importantly, what impressed me the most about Trace on offense is the fact that he was blocking downfield. Obviously, a senior, he knows what's on the line. He doesn't want to miss out on the playoffs his last go-around. He knows that he has the talent to be, an X factor on this offense. He's definitely an X factor on defense, too, starting safety. But, yeah, the game plan moving forward is Trace Wright has earned some snaps on offense, and rightfully so, because I think that touchdown right off the gun for Union County, the 70-yard streak touchdown, was more or less of, I'm not going to say a dagger, but it definitely hurt Banks County in that game, and it gave Union all the life on that first drive that they scored. And Trace Wright going to play both sides. Now, also, Jensen Goebel, Jake, you saw him whenever Murphy played at Union. Jensen Goebel, a speedy kickoff return man, outside wide receiver. He's out for the year now. So he actually tore his ACL on a quick tear down hit. It was a quick bubble screen, and he got hit at the ankles and some way, somehow tore his ACL last Friday night. Looking at it during the game, I didn't think much of it. I thought, okay, he's got a high ankle sprain or he's tweaked out for this game. Come to find out, he tore his ACL. He's out. So now you go back to that situation where defensive back Eli Pugh is now playing offense again. And I'll be honest with you, week 1, Eli played over 100 snaps, set the record for number of snaps played at Union County. Starting DB, kickoff punt returner, starting wide receiver, and he's going to do that again this week with Jensen, the receiver, out at wide receiver, outside receiver, and punt and kickoff returner too. So if Eli's conditioned, which I feel like he is by now, week 7 in comparison to week 1 against Fannin, he'll be okay. And he'll do his thing. But if, he's not ready for 107, 108 quality, much-needed snaps, Union could see a bit of a struggle here. And I'm not saying they're going to lose or it's going to be that key of a loss or anything like that with Jensen Goebel out. But I'm saying, you lose a 25-yard kickoff return. You lose a wide receiver that's willing to go down the field and block, or a guy that's willing to work down low in the flats and set still and catch a quick pass if Eli's tired. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be tired, but based on week 1, he was wore out. Hopefully by now he's ready to go, and I think he will be, but it's a huge task for Eli Pugh, a senior DB, to now be doing punt, kickoff returns, play wide receiver, alongside Trace Wright, strictly a DB. He'll now be playing on offense too. So 2 key guys playing unreal number of snaps, and it can be done, and it is done across the state of Georgia by several different schools. But these guys, not used to that week in and week out playing 85, 90, 100 snaps on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, just quickly before we take a break, tell us about Towns County. They played a really close game last week, probably one of the best games in the area. What did they have this week, and how did they lose that game last week?
Well, yeah, Jake, we talk about Towns playing against Commerce. It was a huge game. We talked about it on the show last week, Jake, and that was a big game for Towns County. They hosted Commerce, a big rival. Get this, Towns County has never once beat Commerce in so many years of being a part of that region. On top of that, Towns County has never once led Commerce, and that's crazy too. And to even add more, gasoline to the fire per se, Towns County has never once been tied with Commerce at halftime. Well, right off the get-go, Towns County led Commerce, I believe, by 2 scores. They were up 14-0, I believe, or 14-7, and then they went into halftime, and it was 14-all at halftime. So they're still in the ball game. So right off the get-go, Towns County has a lead, so they break that curse, if you will, against Commerce. Then at halftime, they're still tied. Break that, that repertoire that they've had against Commerce for years. And then there in the second half, it ended up being 28-20. Coach Rockmore told me at practice on Wednesday that, here or there, one key play on offense hurt them, one key play on defense hurt them, and then kind of the story for them, special teams. They continue to have an issue where, they overthink a return or somebody fumbles or something of that nature. But Towns County had a huge game, and even though it did result in a loss, that's big because they stay healthy. Heading into week 7, they have a bye now here, Jake. They're on a bye week, and then they'll come back and they'll take on another big rival, because it's kind of a situation in which that region's up for grabs. You really know who the top 3 teams are. Washington Wilkes, number 1, Commerce, number 2, Lincoln County, and number 3. Those 3 teams are 2-0 in the region. So you think, okay, that's pretty much solidified unless something happens. And then you've got a battle for that 4th place spot, that playoff spot, as Social Circle has yet to win a region game, Towns County yet to win a region game, and Greene County yet to win a region game. So those 3 teams are going at it, like cats and dogs, trying to figure out who's that 4th seed, who will make another playoff appearance. And I think the more talented team, hands down, Towns County, they've just yet to win a region game, and I think they'll do so next week against Greene County.
Yeah, good stuff coming out of Hiawassee on the football field. Towns County, historic season thus far. Really wish they would have finally gotten over that hump and been able to win last week, but a great showing nonetheless. Let's take a quick break. When we come back for the final 10 minutes of the show, we'll have Tim Tao join us, and he will highlight 7AA. And Chris, you and him can talk about fan football and what's going on in 7AA. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the endless aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, girl. Back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey, girl. Look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Director, Team F1 Sports, joined by Chris Mathis. We're going to bring in Tim Tao. This is the North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Press Box. Tim, tell us about Region 7AA, and you and Mathis banter back and forth for the final 15 minutes of our show, because 7AA is kind of fluid right now.
Yeah, it is. And, there was a surprising score last week when Dade County, just defeated Model 20-17. A lot of people thought Dade County was going to defeat Model handily after their victory over Pepperell a few weeks ago. But Dade County defeated Model last week, 20-17 in overtime. Chattooga defeated Coosa, very easy, 40-3. And then Pepperell took care of business against Gordon Central. So this week, the game of the week in Region 7AA is by far Chattooga and Dade County. That's a big game. And it's at home against Chattooga has that game at home. So that's the game of the week in Region 7AA for sure. All eyes will be on that. Gordon Central and Coosa are both 0-7, but somebody's got to get a victory. And that'll happen on Friday night. And then, of course, the Rebels will travel to Rome to play Model. So, pretty exciting week in Region 7AA. The argument right now as well is it Fannin, Dade, Chattooga? Is Pepperell a 4? It's a 4-team race right now. 1, 2, and 3 right now are up for grabs between Fannin, Chattooga, and Dade. And that Dade Chattooga game this week is going to tell a lot about Region 7AA.
What's your prediction? I mean, what do you think? What's going to happen this week with the Dade and Chattooga game? Because I know last week a lot of people were high on Dade, even putting them above Fannin to be the 1 seed. But after they struggled against Model, that may not be the case this week.
I don't know, man. Dade County's such a hard team to figure out. And then they beat South Pittsburgh, who's a traditional powerhouse in the state of Tennessee, and then they struggle with Model, with all due respect to Model. So who knows, man? I think Chattooga's going to defeat Dade. I do. I think Chattooga's got too much on offense. They've got a really good defensive line, Xander Cook. I really think Chattooga is going to defeat Dade County. But if you would have asked me that last week, I'd have said Dade County was going to win. So who knows? That's why you play these type of games. But I think a home playoff game will be decided on Friday night in that Little Bighorn that they call it with Chattooga and Dade for sure. And I think the winner of that, has a chance to be the 1 seed, if not the 2 seed.
What about Fannin? They're coming off a bye, getting back in the swing of things. They get another huge victory on Friday night. Then I'm not sure whatever happens with Model or with Chattooga and Dade. I would say Fannin would definitely be the favorite if they're able to get a very Big win by a big margin on Friday night.
Yeah, and I wasn't the best at math during my school days, Jake. Never claimed to be a good, but I think if Fannin does win, they'll clinch a spot in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. If I had to make a prediction, I would go Fannin 1. Right now, I would go Fannin, Chattooga, Dade model. But we'll see what happens. That's why they play him. Fannin should win, but you got to play him. Fannin's really healthy right now. Miles not getting Fannin at a good time for sure. They're healthy off a bye week. A well rested Seth Reese. You never know what can happen, but I like Fannin big Friday night.
Hey Tim, quick question for you. Coming off a bye week, I know that Fannin's offense is really starting to click. Seth Reese taking over at quarterback. He's done a great job being able to scramble, also tossing the rock too. Now, one thing that we've I feel like not necessarily lacked on, but something we haven't really pointed out is who Seth is throwing the ball to. Obviously, Owensby and several other running backs in the backfield, but who are the receivers that are getting most of the targets there in Fannin County?
Yeah, well, I think what's helped him is the emergence of Case and Owensby helping Austin Garland in the backfield. Corbin Davenport, Carson Collis, Hayden Lynch, Sawyer Moreland, all have been weapons for Reese and Mashburn. Let's face it, David Mashburn is still a vital part of this offense, and he's even shown up as a wide receiver. So there's still packages where Mashburn's in the football game. So they're all being utilized. Fannin has a lot of weapons, not as many weapons as they had last year, obviously with Kahutta Hyde, Andre Bivens, and Jalen Ingram being gone. But there's still plenty of weapons on this Rebel football team, and a lot of young kids that are stepping up too. Let me tell you something. Fannin's freshman class is what's not being talked about enough. Their JV had a big win last Friday against Pickens County, and no one's talking about their JV team and their freshmen. There's a good young group of freshmen on this Fannin County football roster that is going to be making a lot of noise. If you saw the video on Twitter, Case Holloway, freshman, squatting 405 pounds, and he's somebody that don't touch the football. He's just on the line, and there's so many good. Carson Callahan, who has scored 2 touchdowns as a freshman this year, very young team, but a bright future for Fannin for sure.
Talk about the wide receiver. Is it Hayden Lynch, I believe, the senior wide receiver? He leads the team in receiving yards.
Yeah, a soccer player came out this year, first year of football, and has really blossomed. And he's only getting better. I mean, he's a kid who doesn't have any bad habits. So I know wide receiver coach Noah O'Neill has been very happy, to be able to really coach him up. And, he's evolved every week. He had a little injury in the Banks County game, I believe, but every week he's gotten better. And like I said, it's fun to coach those kids who, don't have any bad habits, and you can just really teach them how to play football. And that's Hayden Lynch and he can also kick. If Jack Katner was to go down, Hayden Lynch can kick the ball very far too.
Now, Fannin County's defense continues to play better each and every week. You guys lost Micah O'Neill. Speaking of Coach O'Neill, you lost Micah O'Neill at linebacker last year. Kahutta Hyde, to name a few of those guys. Several different pieces are gone. Which level, first level lineman, second level linebacking core, third level secondary, which one has truly stepped up to the plate this year for Fannin's defense and has really taken off and been the anchor of that Rebel defense?
You always talk about Case and Owensby. He's the anchor, and Case Sands, Andrew Waldrop's linebacking core, Carson Collis, all regions corner. But I'm going to give you a name that, you better remember, and he's just a junior, but you already know him. But Logan Long on the defensive line and on the offensive line, too. He plays both ways. But Logan Long is a monster. 285 pounds. He's had several sacks, just gets in the backfield. You line him up in nose tackle, and you can't stop him. He's just a monster. Loves football. Absolutely loves football. He's obviously, we knew he was going to be a good football player for us this year, but he's been a surprise. Also, Nate Maluth on the defensive ends played well. Brian Stiles, Jeremy Tamman on the defensive line, Case Holloway, freshman. Those guys have really played well too. But the main thing is, Fannin County is really healthy right now. We hope we can stay healthy. Obviously, a home playoff game is well within reach. Heard County right now is slated to be the 4 seed, possibly our Region 5. So that would be a rematch of last year's second round game. And Fannin could be actually hosting if they were to win the first round. I mean, obviously we're talking ahead, and Coach Cheatham's probably going to be really mad at me for saying we'll be the 1 seed, but I think we're going to be the 1 seed. But, looking ahead, we could actually play Fitzgerald again in round 2, the team that we got defeated by in the playoffs in the Elite 8. So that's kind of ironic that you would possibly play the same 2 teams in the playoffs that you played last season, but it's kind of looking that way. But very similar scenarios compared to last year.
Hey Tim, obviously last year the Rebels had a career year, one of those years that will never be forgotten, and I know that I'll carry that year with me wherever I go. I'll never forget what Chad Cheatham and that Rebel football team did. Now this year, a couple of changes. 22 seniors graduate last year, but the Rebels have really stepped up. As you said, several young guys come to play. They've really dominated. They've really taken charge and helped out and contributed. How does this team, in what way is this team, similar to last year's team? And in what way is this team different than last year's team? Both good and bad here. I wanted to ask Coach Cheatham this earlier in practice, and I somehow forgot. So,
Chris, I'm glad you asked this question, and I get mad talking about it because Fannin County last season wasn't a fluke. Okay, Fannin County's here to stay, and I get mad about it because you see the polls every week, and you see these scores that these other teams that are ranked are putting up, and you see these schools that Fannin County has defeated just as bad as these other schools have, but yet Fannin County can't get no love. Traditionally, historically, Fannin County has not been a football school. And I love Fannin County football more than anything. In my yearbook, when I graduated, on my doors, I put Fannin County football. Okay, I love Fannin County football.
Yeah.
But historically, Fannin County football has not been good. So I think that's what right now in the polls, and all these, Score Atlanta, Max Preps, Georgia High School Daily, GPB, Recruit Georgia, nobody's ranking Fannin County because they still think last year was just a fluke season, a once in a lifetime season for Fannin County, and it was. But here's the thing: we're here to stay. Coach Cheatham has built something so special within our programs. The middle school, the rec department, everything aligns from the top to the bottom. The JV, the middle school, the rec teams are all having success. They've all bought in. Coach Cheatham's involved in every program, and I'm not just saying that because I work in recreation, but I really feel like it's so vitally important when your head coach of your football team works so closely with your middle school and your youth programs. And that just builds success. That builds people wanting to play. When these kids see Coach Cheatham out there coming to their practice and inviting them to run out with the team and inviting them to the homecoming parades, they want to be a part of something special. And that's why Fannin County is a AA school, but we've got 135 kids playing youth football. And I think a lot of that is because they were so excited based on last season's success of the football team. They want to be a part of something special. But Fannin County's here to stay. And I don't think last year was a fluke. I think we're going to go on a several-year playoff run right here. And I get frustrated talking about it because it's not a fluke. We're here to stay. We've arrived in high school football, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't doubt you there, Tim. But, I mean, in all serious, X's and O's, whatnot, and what this team's capable of, how does this team stack up with last year's team? Not questioning the fact that last year was a fluke, because it wasn't.
No, I don't think obviously I don't think that these guys are as, I'm trying to word this correctly here, Chris. I don't think that these guys have the experience as last year's team. But I think the talent is there. The coaching's there, the talent's there, the playmakers are there. They've just got to piece it together. Obviously, we really don't have. The only thing I think we're not lacking compared to last year is that deep ball threat. But you can make an argument that our running game is just as good, if not better, than it was last year. So, similar. I think the defenses are very similar. Coach Turner does a good job with the defense. It's hard to, obviously Micah O'Neal was so hard to replace, and he's not. No one's replaced Micah O'Neal. 5,000 tackles it seems like he had, but this defense is playing very similar to last year, and if you look at the points per game, it's right on line with last season too. So a lot of similarities. Like, the only thing I think the Rebels are missing would be that deep ball threat, Chris. But you make an argument, offset that with the running game with Reese, Owensby, Garland. Pretty dang good.
Yeah, great stuff there, Tim. Appreciate you coming on. For Tim Towle and Chris Matthews.